All right, welcome to the fourth floor, an extension of 5 on the floor here on the 5 Reasons YouTube channel. I'm Ethan Skolnick. You can follow me at Ethan J. Skolnick on the 5 Reasons Sports. I got Mateo Mayorga. You can follow him at Mateo Mayorga 23. We might have Timothy Bain joining us here as well. Alejandro Villegas is our producer. Before we get to our show, I'm live at Kaseya Center. I still don't know how to pronounce that. I do want to mention our two sponsors of this program. One is our friend Mark Brown. You can find him at markbrownpa.com. That's with a C in it. markbrownpa.com. If you need an estate plan, he's the man to go to. Real simple stuff, and it's really important. If you got a family, you should make sure you know where your money's going to go. You don't want the government fighting over it, relatives fighting over it. Go to markbrownpa.com. He's also a real estate attorney. He's based in North Miami. He can handle your closings for you. He did 2 for me, did a great job with it. Make sure when you reach out to him, you mentioned 5 Reasons. Again, it's markbrownpa.com. Our other sponsor, Prize Picks. We'll get into that as we go forward. Use the code 5, FIVE. Get that initial deposit matched up to $100 at prizepicks.com, Google Play Store, Apple App Store. And again, you got to put down the money to be able to get the money. So put down $100 if you want, $20, whatever it is. They're going to do an initial match, and then you can use it for whatever it is that you want to play. And again, you can play more than just the NBA, but you can also play NHL, MLB, etc., all at prizepicks.com. Again, use the code 5. Again, Mateo, I'm here down at the arena. It is chaos down here. I would recommend if you're coming to the arena tonight, if you're on your way, get out of your car, park it somewhere, and Uber, because they're price gouging down here at the arena. Not surprising. $100 for Bayside, which is usually $20. Capitalism at its finest. It's not really capitalism. That's gross. But anyway, let's get to the big decision that was made here, because this is what's live. We've done a ton of content, but the big decision that was made here tonight is that Joe Mazzulla is going small. He's going to play Derek White as his starter. I thought he should have done this for game 1. He went with Robert Williams. As far as we know, Erik Spoelstra is not changing his starting lineup from Kevin Love to Caleb Martin, but we'll see. It has not been released at this point as we got onto the show. What do you think of this particular decision by Mazzulla, doing it in game 3? He went to it in the second half, started the second half of the last game, but actually started in game 3 here in Miami.
Well, Ethan, I think he is making a mistake by picking the wrong big man. It's cool to insert White in there because he's making over 60% of his shots from the field and from three-point range and is a solid defender. But he's sticking with Al Horford, who can't stay in front of Bam Adebayo in this series and has been a zero offensively. He's only making 30% of his shots from the field and like 12.5 from three-point range. That was a mistake. Robert Williams, I don't even think he's missed a shot yet in this series. He's a vertical threat, very good off the roll, and he's much better defensively. He's even blocking shots on the perimeter, which 98% of the shots that are blocked come in the interior. So that stuff really doesn't happen, and Robert Williams provides it. Joey Ballgame has just made a huge mistake. It just really seems like he's throwing out decisions randomly. And now, what this affords the Heat the possibility to do, Ethan, you can put Strus on White. I would stick with Love on Horford, and I would put Bam Adebayo on Jason Tatum. I would have him bother him as long as Joe Mazzulla doesn't make an adjustment, because this is what this rotation has now afforded you. With that said, the Celtics, because they're still down 0-2, they have the higher level of desperation. It doesn't matter that Miami is up 2 games right now. Like, you should still expect them to come out guns blazing. Miami picked up 11 offensive rebounds in the last game that turned into 16 second chance points. That's a little bit of Boston also beating themselves because they're not getting nastier on the glass or being the first to loose balls on the ground. I'm expecting a different type of effort from them in the first half and all the way through. But this mistake that Joe Mazzulla has made has really allowed the Heat some serious possibilities tonight.
Well, you call it, I don't know how about, well, my stream's working right now. You call it Joey Ballgame. I might go with Joey Endgame here, because this is what this is feeling like in this situation. I waited until you were finished to throw that one in. We got Timmy here. Your thoughts on the lineup change? Because that's really the only thing that's different from everything we've talked about over the past 24 hours. Derek White in, Robert Williams out. I thought he might. He wasn't going to put Horford on the bench, and he wasn't going to start Grant Williams. So this was likely the move. Do you like the move?
Yeah, like I said before the series, Derek White has always been a Miami Heat killer, even though he played bad in the first round for them. They actually had some success with this exact lineup a bit, but for like 5 minutes during game 2. So I'm actually so shocked that it took this long to actually do it. There's always Spurs going to, like, at this point when something comes Spurs way, I just expect him to adjust his way out of it. I'm curious to see what happens with the Love and Bomb minutes. And I agree with Mateo. I think we need to Bomb is Bomb. Like like we complain so much about Bomb, but what a man does on defense is otherworldly. Like put Love in Horford, and I think it might actually be helping us to let Bomb just roam a bit and rotate him a bit. So I think in the first 3 or 4 minutes we'll be able to tell, just how prepared Spo is, and he is. So I feel like Spo probably low key said from yesterday, okay, this is what they're gonna do, and that he already prepared for it. Like at this point, like I feel like Spo just is in his maths at this lab saying, okay, they did this, so if we beat them, they'll do this, and when they do this, we'll do this, and once they react to this, we'll do this. Like I just feel like Spo is just so ahead of the game right now that it's not gonna matter much, to be quite honest.
It does feel like he's scrambling, no question about it. And, again, you can only scramble so much more because we're in game 3 here, and it feels a little bit desperate. Gad, as we talk about the lineup change, which is pretty much the topic of this show today, which is going with Derek White over Robert Williams, how do you think that this changes the Celtics rotation after? Because are they going to bring Grant Williams and Robert Williams off the bench together now? Are they going to stagger those players? You've now taken White off the bench, so now we're going to see Pritchard, who was kind of a disaster in game 1. How does that go? And also, how did the Heat adjust to that?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because you look at what they could do off the bench. I think what makes sense for the Celtics is you play Grant Williams with one of Horford or Robert Williams. You don't try to play Robert Williams and Horford together. So I think that adjustment, like this adjustment, makes sense for the Celtics, in my opinion. I think you scratch Peyton Pritchard, you shorten the rotation, you don't go all the way into 9 or whatever. Don't make the mistake you made in game 1. I don't know why he was on there to begin with, but it ended up being food for the Heat. So I think the adjustment makes sense for Boston. I think they can play a little bit faster. And honestly, I mean, if Cody Zeller sees the floor, like I think it makes sense. They could make Cody Zeller struggle a little bit, or more than he has been at least. But I think
that's a good question. Should Cody Zeller see the floor? Because if they're not,
that's what I was going to get into. I think
go with Highsmith tonight, and then in some ways, haven't you played into the Heat's hands? Because I think Spo would rather play Highsmith.
Yes. Okay. So I was going to say, I think this is the scenario in which it makes sense for the Heat to go small. When they go those Horford lineups or whatever, maybe play Haywood Highsmith at the 5 or whatever it may be. And maybe Kevin Love is in there as well. So you have like a little bit more size and just players that can match, switch, and still keep some of the same scheme, but can also keep up with the speed. Because my issue is when they go those small lineups with Horford at the 5 and they have those 4 ball handlers that are capable on the floor and shot creators, then those lineups when Zeller is in, they get blitzed because he just simply cannot keep up. He can't move fast enough. So I think tonight might be a game where we see Haywood Highsmith for like 8 to 10 minutes, 8 to 12 minutes instead of Cody Zeller. I think Zeller is going to be rendered useless probably for the rest of the series. But maybe he gives us some good minutes with Lowry, who knows. But I think that could be the Heat's kind of counter, in addition to just bumping Caleb's minutes, bumping Bam's minutes, bumping Jimmy's minutes, if possible.
All right, we're going to go around the horn here on this. By the way, Prize Picks, and we're going to keep on doing a Prize Pick show with David in a second. I love Bam over 3 points in the first 6 minutes of this game. I just feel like they're gonna go to him to try to establish something, especially with Robert Williams not in there, get Bam going early. So that would be my primary play tonight. I also like Jason Tatum over 20.5 field goal attempts. They're going to go down with him one way or the other. I feel like, and there's a ton of pressure on him tonight. Going to go around the horn here. Just one thing. Give me the one thing that needs to happen tonight for the Heat to win. Mateo, go.
Jimmy Butler, double-digit free throw attempts. He had only 3 in the last game when he took 13 attempts in the paint. I think he's going to have a friendlier whistle, specifically if Williams isn't on the floor. He'll blow past Horford if he gets a switch. I think he's going to get that contact, slow the game down, and make things better for the Heat. Jimmy, double-digit free throws. Mute.
Oh, Timmy, your one thing?
For some reason, I feel like Larry hasn't had that game. I mean, I like what he did game 1, but I feel like Larry has to turn back into the point guard he was the last round. So I think with Boston being a team, and I don't know if y'all mentioned this earlier, Boston has won at least 2 road games in every series in the last 2 years. So they are coming with the mindset that we can win 2 games at home. Like that's what we have been about. So I think Lowry is going to be a big part of stopping that. Like when when he comes in the game, he has to slow the game down, get them moving. Don't let at this point, the Heat is the veteran team, but I see like Larry's going to be the steady head that's let them get too high, too low, and get them. Because I won't lie, that was supposed to be the Celtics should have won that game. Like the Heat should not have won that game. I'm sorry, like I was expecting us to go down 1-1, and then Grant Williams decided to wake up the monster, and so this is the game you have to break them. You have to break them. You just have to do it. Like I saw someone say like like a poll, which quarter will the Heat take the Celtics soul in this game? Like at this point, it's going to be expected. But yeah, Larry has to just be Larry,
Gad, I was going to say that the one key tonight is not to let Tony Brothers get to you, because he's the official tonight. I saw that Celtics fans are a little freaked out about that also. But you also don't want to get to a Scott Foster game, which I feel like is coming, because it's not going to take him too long to get across the country at this stage. Give me your one thing.
So I love the points that both Mateo and Timmy made. I wholeheartedly agree with both of them. I think go back to the Bam playmaking well. I think him kind of being the hub of offense is something that, one, if they're going to go small with just Horford being the big, they don't really have help defenders unless Jason Tatum's going to take that onus on himself. They don't have weak side rim protection. If Bam has the ball at the elbow, cut. And if Bam has the ball on the perimeter, cut. Like, make sure that Bam has people to give the ball to in the paint. Because I don't think Boston has an answer for it, honestly. I really don't. I think Bam being a playmaker in addition to kind of being that 18 to 20 and 10 guy is huge. And it makes the Heat way harder to guard with or without Jimmy on the floor. So I'll go with Bam. If he keeps that playmaking going, this team gets infinitely more dangerous offensively. And we know defensively they're going to show up.
I'm with you on all that stuff. And here's the thing. Bam is the key to this game to me. And he's been the key to this series. I kind of feel like Jimmy knows how to get to his spots against this team, regardless of who's defending him. If they get an aggressive Bam tonight, they're winning again. That's where I'm at. This Celtics team, I don't think they have the answers for Jimmy, okay, in any way. They can try Brown, they can try White, they can try. I mean, there's going to be a lot of different matchup combinations that they're going to use against him. You can double him more often. The reality is, if Bam is aggressive, everything you want to do against Jimmy is not going to be enough. That's where I'm at with this. I'm expecting a Strus game. I feel like he's the one guy who really hasn't gotten off yet. I was looking at the fourth quarter stats in the playoffs. He's only made 1 out of 7 threes in the fourth quarter in the postseason, which is crazy to me because he's made so many big threes for them in the past. Duncan's made 12 threes in the fourth quarter in the playoffs. Max has made 1. And Gabe has shot over 50% from 3 in the fourth quarter. I think this is a Max Strus game. At the end of it, I feel like he makes a couple of shots to put them over the edge. And I actually think the Heat are going to steal this thing tonight. I've been wavering back and forth the entire day. But this just feels desperate from the Celtics, and I do think that they can break their spirit here tonight. I want to thank Timmy. I want to thank Mateo. I want to thank Gad. Also, we'll be on Playback tonight, so check it out at playback.tv/5RSN. We'll be on there. Thanks to our sponsors, Mark Brown and Prize Picks. And I'm going to be on in about 5 minutes with David Freeman and David Eversole. We'll give you the rest of our Prize Picks tonight. It's crazy back here. Look at this. This is what an Eastern Conference Finals looks like, guys. It's a little bit different, but I feel like we have one of these every damn year. Have a good night, everybody.
Take care.
And you've told us all along how those moments help prepare for these moments. Can you talk about your team's poise and moxie down the strength in getting it done to go up 2-0?
Yeah, I think probably all those games, more than anything, it just makes you realize how tough it is. It really is tough. To win, it's even tougher to win in the playoffs. And then you're playing against a very good basketball team in Boston. We've just had a lot of reps on learning how to deal with a lot of different emotions. I mean, there were so many different ebbs and flows of that game. But you start to wrap your mind around that it's going to be a long game, 48 minutes, and you got to win skirmishes. We had to battle through deficits in both halves, but we showed that grit and perseverance to be able to hang in there and then, make some plays. And defensively, in the second quarter, were really good, to get back into the game, and then same thing in the second half, and then Jimmy and Bam just really anchored us offensively. It's just great, when your two best players can lead you and you have a place where the ball can go and everybody else is just playing off of those guys. But they also hit some very timely big shots in that fourth quarter.
What did you think of not just his entire game, but once they put Rob on Caleb, his response to that?
Yeah, they did it last year, so it's almost like he's had 12 months to prepare for this. He has a lot of pride. He doesn't like being whatever. But he's an important playmaker for us. Spacing the floor. He's not your traditional 3-and-D guy. He's a little bit unconventional out of the box, so he can do a lot of different things. But that's part of it. Like if they're going to play way off of him, he's now had a lot of months of knocking down those kind of shots, but also off the dribble, making plays, and just those timely winning plays. In the second quarter, really they made a big time push, and Caleb was the one. His energy, his offense, his defensive efforts really just kind of kept us, in that scrum.
Jimmy and Bam are different off the court, but you've talked about how they're so similar on the court, just in their on-court personas. What makes them so unique as stars?
That competitive spirit, the competitive will. They compete to win, and they understand you have to do it on both ends of the court. Both of them, at some point probably guarded basically everybody on the floor. At some point with the switches. So they're going to burn a lot of calories on that end, but then they have this shoulder, massive responsibilities for us on the other end. So we follow them. We follow them with their spirit, their competitive will, night in, night out.
Spo, you've talked for years about the will you've got to have to succeed in the postseason. Why is the belief within this group so strong that you guys will find a way no matter the circumstances?
Feels like this has just been our existence all year long. I guess nobody's really paying attention, but we were in every single game it felt like for weeks on end, every game was ending on the last second shot, whether we were shooting it or the other team was shooting it. So you develop some grit, from that, and whether that turns into confidence or not, sometimes you don't have the confidence, but at least you have that experience of going through stuff, and you understand how tough it is.
What was going through your head when you saw Jimmy and Grant face-to-face like that? Mike, is it fair to say you were not displeased?
I can see where you're going. Look, I love that gnarly version of Jimmy, but you get that regardless. I just think people now are paying a lot more attention, to him now. We've won some games in the postseason. The last few years, Jimmy is just a real competitor.
But playing that way, you guys have played close games for like a decade. Is there a comfort when the game is like that you feel? For
a whole decade? We're going to go.
It's been years. You guys play close games every year, like many of them.
That sounds like it's almost an indictment on the style of play, like in the mud. No, I'm kidding. No, I think the only thing that's relevant is this year. Well, this group has been together for a while, so there's some collective experiences together. But certainly this year was really unique for all of us, and there's a beauty in the struggle. There's a beauty in that grind. We're privileged to be able to go through a unique regular season like we have. But we're in the midst of this right now, and yes, we feel a certain way about getting these two games, but we're well aware of who they are, what they're capable of. Just in these first two games, they've gone on big runs on us. So we have to stay focused on the task at hand and get ready for a big battle in Game 3.
Coach, Game 2 against New York, I imagine you knew you would be going to some zone just because Butler was out. I wonder if this one, if you thought you'd be playing, had any idea that you'd be playing as much zone as you did.
When you compete against great teams, very good teams like we're facing in Boston, you just have to do whatever's necessary. Now, it's not about the schematics or the X's and O's. You could invent a new defense. If you're not committed to doing tough things, that's what this is about, doing tough things. Like, these guys are not easy to defend. You have to be committed to doing the multiple efforts to contain, to get to the three-point line, to contain their drives. They do all of that, and then they crash the glass, whether in the man or the zone. But our guys have kind of wrapped their minds around that, how tough it is in the postseason.
Eric over here, you've obviously been asked a lot about the undrafted story and having so many players along those lines.
Yeah, that's kind of played out.
Well,
yeah.
my
but they're
question.
Not even like that's so disrespectful to keep on talking about that way. Like, Gabe has been with us. He's a veteran.
Yes.
He's a seasoned veteran. I have not even bothered to look at the playoff experience, but he's got as much playoff experience as anybody in this postseason. He's been with us since the bubble. Like, that storyline is over. These guys have proven themselves as competitors and winning players. Maybe they feel a certain way about it, but they have the full trust of everybody in our locker room. And this is just about the Heat versus Celtics right now.
Well, my question along those lines is, what are the intangibles that those types of players have that you typically look for that maybe are showing up right now in the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, you see it. It's on display. Competitive will, competitive spirit, toughness, understanding how tough it is to win. And there's a humility to that. It's a tough balance to have that razor's edge, but also have a humility, and a respect for the opponent. Those guys have that for sure.
Eric, obviously you count on Duncan's three-point shooting to help you, but he also was aggressive going to the basket and gave you sort of a spark at a bunch of different times. He's a guy who's been in, he's a guy who's been out, been spotted a little. Your thoughts on his overall effort tonight?
Now, that's been 2 years of development, where the scouting report was to do everything and anything to get him off that three-point line. So he's been working on that diligently for 2 off seasons, regular seasons, really working on his off-ball movement, more actions to the rim. You saw the back cut, and then putting the ball on the floor. I mean, I can't even mention how many drives he's worked on during the off season over and over and over, and then still doing his normal shooting routine, because that's what creates the overreactions. But that's a credit to his commitment to player development. That's it. Thanks.
Well, what have you seen from what you guys have done against Tatum in the fourth quarter that he's yet to make a field goal?
I don't like thinking about that. He's a great player. I mentioned that at the top of this series. He's one of the best players on this planet that play with that round ball. Sometimes it's make or miss in this league. We're aware of, if you think that he's going to keep on, if he's going to miss at some points in the game, we know what he can do in the fourth quarter. We were watching, that previous series. He's a great player. He deserves the respect, of our efforts to try to, make it tough. But great players, they can go above and beyond.
Well, has the respect that your guys have had for him caused them to kind of raise their execution to slow him in that fourth quarter?
Our guys? Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes it's make or miss. He's fully capable of making, some of these shots. So it always looks better if you get the win. All right, thank you.
Jimmy, after last game when you saw some doubles and you were able to make plays off those doubles tonight, when did you get the sense that they weren't going to send as much help? And did you see it as an opportunity to create more shots for yourself?
Yes. I was trying to play the right way the entire game. And then I feel like in the fourth, it's all about getting the bucket, whether you're taking a contested shot, a wide open shot. It's all about getting shots on goal. And I can only tell y'all so many times how much confidence that my teammates put in me, the coaching staff puts in me to just go out there and hoop, play carefree, and as we like to say in our locker room, take us there.
Jimmy, before you got up here, we've been talking about Grant Williams and what happened there in the fourth quarter. And Bam even suggested that you occasionally start things like that to just kind of get yourself going. Can you tell us what happened in the moment there, and did it fuel you down the stretch?
Yes, it did, but that's just competition at its finest. He hit a big shot, started talking to me. I like that. I'm all for that. It makes me key in a lot more, and it pushes that will that I have to win a lot more, and it makes me smile. It does. When people talk to me, I'm like, okay, I know I'm a decent player if you want to talk to me out of everybody that you can talk to, but I don't know. It's just competition. I do respect him though. He's a big part of what they try to do. He switches. He can shoot the ball. I just don't know if I'm the best person to talk to.
So Jimmy, Grant wasn't the answer, was he, to the Jimmy
no.
Butler problem?
He wasn't.
That's what the end of that post game was about. That's what you're referencing.
That's not what it's about. But I don't know. I think so many guys played well for us tonight. You know, Caleb was huge, as was Bam. And I just think we played high energy. And everybody's going to focus in on that, but that's for sure not the reason why we won the game. I think what Caleb did tonight was incredible in keeping us in the game. You can't leave him. He's on everybody's scout report. He does everything that you ask him to do. And then Bam was Bam, rebounding, passing the ball, scoring the ball. And then I made some shots late. That's the ball game.
One last one. Can you tell us about the song you were listening to on the way in here?
Morgan Wallen, Somebody's Problem. It's a hit in the locker room right now. But honestly speaking, I think I'm kind of like the DJ, so I get to pick and choose what we listen to. If it's not him, it's Dermot Kennedy. It might be some gospel in there. Who knows?
Jimmy, fourth quarter execution, both here in game 2 and also in game 1, they seem to be very much out of rhythm. You're disrupting them, turning the ball over. You guys seem pretty confident and comfortable in the offensive end. What's keyed to both of those elements?
Honestly, they just missed some shots. That's part of the game. I think our game plan is kind of simple in the fourth quarter, if I'm being brutally honest. It's kind of like give me the ball and move, and I'm tasked with making the right play. Sometimes it's shoot the ball. Most of the time it's shoot the ball, and a lot of times it's pass the ball to the open guy. And I pride myself on finding that open guy. I really do. I want to get all my teammates involved, and I've never been a guy to say that the player that I am today isn't because of my teammates. It's always because of them. They always make shots. It makes my job so much easier. If I get beat on defense, somebody's always there. I have so much faith in this group of guys that we have, and I've said it all year long. We're going to ride with one another till the wheels fall off.
Do you feel like because of that you have kind of a mental edge on them at this point?
I don't think so. I just think we're so worried about us as a team, us as a unit, that it's not like we don't focus on them, because we do. You know, we talk about everything that they do, but at the end of the day, we have to be the best version of ourselves. We have to believe in one another. We got to go out there and compete together, withstand the runs that they will go on, and be able to make runs of our own. And at the end of the day, we're going to always live with the result because we did it together.
Jimmy, you talked through the years here about the confidence everybody pours into you and everybody pours into everyone else. Why is the belief so strong within that no matter what the situation is in a game, that you guys will find a way to win?
We see it every day in practice, on off days. Guys are constantly working on their game. Guys are constantly studying film. And guys just want to win. At the end of the day, that's all anybody wants on this roster. If you ask them to do something, as long as it's for winning, they're going to do it. Nobody on this roster is dumb, so they can tell whenever it's about winning and whenever you're telling them something because the end goal is winning. And then more than anything, like I always say, we in this thing together. We love it that way, and we'll continue to play that way and have fun while we're doing it.
Jimmy, you guys finished 7th record in the East, number 8 seed, but there's been that sort of will all along. Did you expect this? Did you, when that Chicago game was over?
That already?
Yeah, but just when you reach a point like this now, at 2-0 in this series, maybe other people are talking about a surprise in the series. Your thought on that?
We don't care. We never have. We never will. We know what we're capable of. We're going to be in this thing to the end together. Good, bad, indifferent. We are who we are. We are where we are. And we're going to continue to fight together.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Like more of the same. So many of these games during the regular season, finding a way to will to the finish. What's it like now when you get to a game like this, knowing that you can get it done because you've done it so many times, no matter the opponent or the venue?
Like I said, I say this countless times, just being in those situations 50-plus times during the regular season, that just brings great experience for us and for us to be able to will out this win. This is a good one for us.
Bam, after you saw some doubles last game and you were able to make plays off of that, after that happened, were you expecting more single coverage in this game? And when you do get single coverage, do you feel an added weight to make some plays and create some shots just for yourself?
Nah. Spo gave me, ultimate clarity. Be you. For me, that's simple enough. He wants me to be aggressive. He wants me to score. And like I said before Cal was hating that one time. I'm a great passer.
Bam, obviously Grant, and obviously Jimmy's your teammate, but what was your view of kind of that head-to-head confrontation between the two of them, and how much do you think that fueled Jimmy going down the stretch?
I feel like things like that always fuel Jimmy. I feel like he starts it so it can get him more in the competition. And, you see down the stretch what he was doing.
You were down 12 twice tonight. So you talk about being able to thrive in these close games, but you had to get there first. Do you think that you are forcing the Celtics into the mistakes that are happening that allow you to get back into these games?
I feel like we're forcing them into difficult shots. Trying to make them turn the ball over. But the biggest thing for us, I feel like we're making shots. I don't know why we keep wanting to get down 12 every once in a while, but it seemed like guys just, stop playing and just really want to hoop, and we will wins. We willed our way back from 12 down twice and got the W.
Bam, this is nothing new for Caleb, but what did you think of his response to Boston putting Rob on him?
One thing Caleb told me was this not last year. And that really resonated with me because they did the same thing to him last year, and I feel like he felt like it was disrespectful.
Anybody else? All right.
That's it. Black Lives Matter, people.
Caleb, sort of another game where another team plays the I Dare Caleb game. Robert Williams guarding you, almost making you be part of the offense. How do you take that in general? How did you take that tonight, and that part of the fueling to what got you to a career playoff high?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, everybody's got a game plan and a scheme to follow, so I get it. You know what I mean? When you're dealing with somebody as good as Jimmy and Bam, guys like that draw so much attention, you kind of have to pick your poison, and I'm just on the short end of the stick when it comes to that. But, you know, I welcome that, and, you know, it's my job to continue to prove to people that I can't be the guy to do that off of, and, you know, I got to not only with that, but that's just, you know, me doing my job and creating space and making things easier on our main guys.
Caleb, on that same topic, this is not the first time teams have tried that with you, and they've been doing it for over a year. How is your experience with teams trying to put centers on you, and specifically Boston trying to do that to you? How is that kind of set you up for a night like tonight?
Yeah, I think automatically when we got through the second round, we matched up with Boston again. I just knew from the jump, I automatically re-triggered my brain to last year during the playoffs, and I knew exactly how they were going to guard me. So I've been preparing myself the minute we we beat the Knicks and we were preparing for Boston. I just automatically started trying to circuit my brain to, you know, the looks I would get and how guys are going to help off of me, and just me preparing to be ready and confident and assertive.
Understanding that Tatum is going to get his at certain points of the game, what do you feel like you guys have been doing in the fourth quarter to kind of keep him quiet, to slow him down a bit in those moments?
Whatever we can, you know what I mean? He's a force offensively, and you know, he like we were saying with Jimmy, he draws so much attention. He's one of the best scorers in the league. So we just do anything that we can to throw bodies at him and give him different looks and different coverages, and you know, that's part of him being a great offensive player. He's going to find ways to score regardless, and you know what I mean? He's done a great job of getting other guys involved. So we just try to throw him different looks and play him as best we can.
The moment that Jimmy and Grant Williams kind of got into it, what were you guys thinking on the sideline at the time or on the floor at the time, and then what kind of lift did it provide you all?
I mean, I knew it was going to be good for us. You know what I mean? I just knowing Jimmy, and at that point of the game is you kind of get him going, and you know, we'll take Mad Jimmy anytime. So I knew kind of that you could kind of see it in his eyes that he was ready to go after that. So you know, he leads, we follow. So you know, he makes it easy on all of us. So.
Caleb, up 2-0 now in this series, heading back to Miami. What do you tell each other in the locker room?
Job's not done. I mean, they're going to be two of the hardest games that we played so far coming up next at home, and we want to use the home court to our advantage. And you know, we just understand the games are going to continue to get tougher, and they're going to come out, you know, firing even more than they did the last two games. And we just got to compete as if we're not up two. You know what I mean? We just got to continue to have that mindset that we, you know, that we're down to or whatever it is to keep us assertive and confident. So we just it's not over till, you know what I mean, until we get to 4.
Caleb, do you guys take pride in doing what you're doing as an 8th seed, or at this point you don't even consider yourself an 8th seed?
I don't think we've ever considered ourselves an 8th seed. Obviously, we put ourselves in that position through the regular season, but you know, we always knew what we were capable of as a team, and you know, we've always had confidence in each other and great chemistry throughout the team. So we just knew we just had to get here, and once we got here, you know, things would kind of play out in our favor, just because, you know, like I said, with the chemistry and the fact that we're a versatile team, we can really shoot the ball, score the ball, and you know, and we got guys like Jimmy and Bam on the team, so we knew they were going to help us, definitely help us and put us in position to make a run.
Thank you.
Appreciate y'all.